While others missed the moment, these leaders saw the signal and made the bet. In today's episode, which is a really interesting and slightly different episode to normal, Race Strauss, the CFO of Virgin Australia, describes to us his bet on joining the company when the company was going through some very tough times. He joined as CFO. We'll hear more about that bet now. Welcome to This Way Forward with Charlie Newark-French. My guest today is Race Strauss. Race is the CFO of Virgin Australia. Race, thank you for joining us here today.
Yeah, no problem, Charlie. Nice to have a chat.
Very good to see you again. The format here, as you know, is a sort of 10-minute-ish conversation around some strategic bet you've made. So just to kick us off, if you're up for it, would you tell us about what the bet was, and then we'll get a bit deeper into that.
Sure. Look, the bet for me was actually joining Virgin Australia as the CFO. I mean, this was an airline which I was on the other side of the fence because I worked with a competitor and I was watching Virgin and its demise. And therefore actually joining, that was a big bet.
Yeah. So what did that look like? Well, why was it a bet at the time? So what did their demise look like? Tell people that don't know the sort of Australian market and what made it made sense to make that bet.
Sure. Look, the Australian aviation market is made up of two big players.
Yes.
Qantas Group,
Yep.
which has the Qantas Airlines and Jetstar, and then there was Virgin Group.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was actually with Qantas. And Qantas is the big player in the market. And aviation itself is quite some risk. But Virgin was going through its fair share of problems and ultimately went into voluntary administration. So to go from a Qantas, well-established,
great
very
brand, really nice market, been around for a long time, and I'm sure was doing well. So why would you make that bet? I mean, I'm not. That sounds like almost a silly bet to make at that point. What was suggesting to you that this was a smart move?
Well, whether it was a smart move or not, actually, at the time, I didn't know. I mean, it was a real challenge. I mean, this was a business that was a great brand, but it was clearly a business that needed to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to join the business. I was invited to join it. And what really appealed was the fact that you could rebuild something that had clearly gone down the wrong path. So it was that challenge. That was the real big appeal. There was a huge risk because it was in administration. Was it going to come out of administration? Was it ever going to be successful? And it was backed by private equity, which is another potential risk in that I'd never worked for private equity before.
Yeah. Got it. So you like the fact that there was a challenge and there was, I guess, some opportunity there. Did you see anything that they were doing wrong that you were like, we should just, as the next leadership team or when you join, do differently?
Yeah. I mean, that was in a way part of the challenge because I saw real opportunity. You know, I've always seen Virgin as a fantastic brand, not only globally, but Virgin Australia as an airline has been a great brand. But I could clearly see there were certain decisions they'd taken that to me didn't make sense. The strategy was quite broad. They were trying to be everything to everyone. They didn't have the balance sheet to do it. So I saw real opportunities to actually help the team that was being established to actually change that approach.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The question I always like to ask here, Race, is who did you have to persuade along the way? It sounds a little bit like you had to persuade yourself as well. What was the moment of clarity for you and anyone else, family members, like other employees that you thought might follow you? Who were the group you had to persuade?
You're right. I mean, I was probably my biggest challenger. You know, so there are a couple of things. The excitement of setting up a new business or rebuilding a business was a real positive. Aviation's a great challenge. The negatives were, where's this business going to go? So who I really needed to persuade was, sure, the support of my family, but my family's been fantastic, fully supported me in everything I've ever done. It was really actually about, do I want to take this risk? What actually persuaded me was the people. Bain Capital, who were the private equity,
Mm.
I had a chat to them, and I just really, I, I, I connected with what they wanted to do. It made a lot of sense to me. They're such a great organization with such vision. The
Oh,
CEO, who I'd worked with before, I think they were really the things that persuaded me.
yeah,
And you put it together, and it just became a risk and reward. And I just thought, well, if
yeah,
you enjoy the people you work for
yeah,
and you think you can make a real difference, why
yeah,
not?
yeah. Cool. So tell us a little bit about how the bet panned out and whether you had any moments of doubt. Was there like 6 months in, you're like, well, this was not the right decision?
Oh, I mean, when you're working 20 hours a day for months months on end, there always comes a point where you go, have I done the right thing?
Yeah.
But I mean, I was lucky in the sense that I came in a little bit after the new management team was set up.
Yes.
And after, once you get your foot in the door,
Yeah.
it actually became clear this was the right decision because the strategy where we were going was exactly right. The
Mm.
people I was working with was right.
Yeah.
As I said, Bain Capital provided the right strategic direction. I think there was a lot of, I wouldn't say doubts, but there was a lot of really hard times. I had to rebuild a function, had
Yeah.
to basically completely redesign the business function. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that meant changing out a lot of people. That was really difficult.
Yeah.
And rebuilding the airline at the same time as the function just created a lot of stress. But ultimately, I've always enjoyed what I've done.
Yeah.
And all through this, there was never any lack of enjoyment.
Mm.
It was just times you were just mentally exhausted.
Yeah. Okay. So the moments of doubt were the just like immense difficulty of what you had to do and the hours associated with it.
Yeah. And it became bigger and bigger because not only
Yeah.
did we have to rebuild the entire business and rebuild the function,
Yeah.
but then as soon as we did that, we then moved into, well, now we're getting great results. So now let's move the business to be a public company.
Yeah.
So going through the IPO process. And as part
Yeah.
of that, we actually sold 25% of the business to Qatar Airways.
Yeah.
So it was just a relentlessness
Yeah. Always
that
something huge happening.
always something huge. And look, quite frankly, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to get through that.
Yeah, 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 totally. Okay, look, part of the reasons we do these podcasts is that people can take away learnings for how they can run their business better or make their decisions better. If someone's facing a similar choice as you, right? So new role, this concept of maybe going from somewhere that's like reliable and secure to something a lot more risky, how should they assess that? It sounds like team was an important thing to you. It sounds like, do you love like the like hours of work? Tell me how you would recommend people assess that.
Look, I think everybody's different, but for me, you've got to enjoy what you do.
Yes.
So it's not about anything else that
Mm.
you're going to spend so much time and effort to do something. If you truly don't enjoy it,
Yeah.
then ultimately that's going to come back and bite
That
you.
someone's gonna beat you at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, it was, do I really enjoy aviation? Do I really enjoy fixing problems,
Mm,
building things?
mm.
If you're someone that wants a steady state job,
Yeah,
don't take a job where you know you're going to have to completely rebuild.
yeah,
So align it to what you enjoy doing. That's probably the most important thing. The second thing I'd say is the people
yes,
that you're going to work intensely with
yeah,
the team. In this case, the management team.
yeah,
It's going to be stressful. So you've got to enjoy the people
yeah,
that you work with. And then the third thing I'd say is you've got to mentally be clear the resilience you're going to go through.
mm,
So, I knew that we're going to have, in my mind, it was 3 years of intense rebuild, and
mm,
you've got to have that resilience mindset. But again, if you really enjoy what you do and you like the people you're working with,
yeah,
then the resilience is a lot easier. So that's how I assessed a decision like this.
yeah,
Everybody's different, but
yeah,
that's the advice I would give to people when trying to make a decision
yeah.
like this.
That's awesome, Race. This is exactly the conversation we like to have. A little bit different to normal, where it's a sort of business strategic bet. This was more like, is this a right bet for my time, my career? And you really assessed it based on the people you're going to work with and whether the challenge excited you. Um, that sounds like a very risky and bold bet. Like when you first described it, I was like, don't go, don't do it. But it sounds like with the Qatar investment, the IPO and everything, it's been a good run with Bain Capital and the CEO that you worked with before. So congratulations and thank you for sharing your story with us here today on This Way Forward.
Oh, look, it's been a pleasure, and it's always great to do something that you can sort of go back to after and go, that we achieved something, we did something, and ultimately we've created an airline that provides a great service to Australians.
Yes.
So there's an element of actually pride in that I was part or am part of something that's achieved something to help everyone.
It would be a terrible outcome for the country and citizens and consumers if there was one brand. You mentioned earlier there were two major brands. No one wants to be in a market where you've got one dominant player. That sounds that's rough all around.
Correct.
So
Correct.
you've given something back there for sure.